go. We have a bet. Oh, wait. Let's go. Hold on. Let's go. We here? We love? All right.
Do it.
All right, man. As you can see, off the rip, you know what it is off the rip. Yeah, let's.
Here we go, guys.
You know, I would just put a disclaimer at the beginning of this, at the top. We got.
It's really good.
I didn't even ask you how you want to be introduced.
Mollie.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Clea
Okay.
Cutthroat?
Yeah. We got. Listen. We're not gonna put her own government out there. This is Mollie. Let me do the proper intro. Welcome to the Masters in Creation podcast, episode 117, where everyone is a master of their own creation. Today, we got the Austin cocktails in front of us, but we also got a legend within Pittsburgh, an international legend.
Wow.
We got Mollie in the building, a.k.a. Clea Cutthroat in the building, man. Yes, sir. Cheers.
Oh my God, I'm so stoked to be
Mollie,
here.
thank you so much. Let's just take a sip off the top real quick. Hold up.
This is like my fourth sip. It's
This is
tasty,
good.
right?
This is good.
I know it kind of sucks that it's 2 cocktails in a
Wow.
can, just
I
because
mean-
I feel like I'm gonna pound this and like.
No, this
in
is
like
going.
a second. Like, I'm
Listen, this could go anywhere. This could go anywhere, and I was super excited. Mollie, thank you so much for taking the time. You know, we know that you don't just show up anywhere. You know, what I mean, you don't just give your time to anybody.
Oh please! This
We're
is such an
super
honor. Shut
appreciative,
up.
yo.
I'm so
Nah,
happy
for
to be
real,
here.
man. Like I am,
happy to
I'm
be
so
here.
excited. And just for really, you know, because again, like, you know, people may know you abroad or just even like, you know, within Pittsburgh, but just for people who may not know, I think it's gonna be super dope to just have you tell your story. You know what I mean? Just, you know, share some highlights. You know what I mean? And just go through the whole journey. You know what I mean? Of just how you ended up.
Spill the
Yeah, exactly. Spill it. So, yeah, just to, you know, kind of diving into it. I know you originally grew up in LA.
Yeah.
So, rocking in LA, things are chilling. Like, when did you go from LA to New York?
I went actually LA to Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay,
Just a
wow.
weird
Okay, wow.
blip on the radar that
Yeah.
I just
Why Hartford?
move over.
Yeah.
I went to the Hart School of Music. I was training with the
Okay.
Hartford Ballet there. 'Cause I
Nice.
was like a hardcore ballet dancer growing up, so that was my parents wanted me to get an education and not just be a part of the company. So they had a program there, long story short. And then I went over there, and then, as one does, I rebelled like
Yeah,
a
right.
slingshot. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
So then I was there for like 2 years, and then I went to New York
Okay,
after that.
got you. So
Yeah.
from Connecticut to New York.
Yeah.
And how long were you in New York?
First time I was there 9 years.
Wow. Okay.
99. Wait.
To 08?
No, I lied. Nope, I was there like 5 or 6 years. Sorry.
Okay.
I was there 99 to like 2000, end of 2004, beginning 2005. That
Okay.
part's blurry. Then I went to Berlin. Then I was in Berlin until end
Like
of
2015, 16.
2016.
Okay.
And then I was back in New York for like a year-ish.
Okay.
And then I went down to New Orleans for like maybe a year.
Okay.
And then came up here as I burp into the microphone.
Yeah, no, facts. We accept
I'm
all
a
burps.
legend.
Yeah. Legends can
These
burp.
margaritas
Yeah,
are awesome.
legends can burp into the mic. Let's just establish that off the
I'm
top.
too comfortable.
Yeah, no, man, please be comfortable. Yo, no, that's okay. So from Connecticut, we rebelled to New York.
Yeah.
And just like, I mean, New York is New York. I know, like, that's a beast of a fucking city. So
Yeah.
it's like, how old were you, like, when you made the jump from
I was
Connecticut to
18.
New York? Whew.
And, I definitely got bitch slapped with life lessons.
That's
the
New York.
first year.
New York, like,
It's like survive.
it bitches slaps you on the way over. Like, it's just like, you'll pass a few states and then they'll be like, damn.
holy
Yeah, in fact.
Right? Can I curse on this?
Please,
podcast?
curse, yeah. Say
Oh,
whatever,
wow.
yeah.
No, the universe was like, bam. And I
Yeah,
was like,
facts.
"Ah."
Your
I was like,
facts,
wow,
bro.
like,
Yeah.
holy
I mean, especially in fucking New York of all fucking places.
Jesus
Like,
fucking
how'd you
Christ,
even
and being,
navigate
like,
that at
young,
18?
And
Yeah.
then, because I didn't even drink until I was in Connecticut, so I
Okay.
was a super late bloomer in the
Oh.
sense where like I wasn't social, I didn't
Yeah.
like kissed any like guys,
Yeah.
I hadn't like partied, So then it was just like Pandora.
I was kind of the same way a little bit. Like, I started drinking late. I was like a stoner before anything. Like, marijuana found me like early. Like, we have had a great relationship, since, and like, shout out to that. But like, I didn't start drinking until like my senior year of high school, and like I'm talking about like the tail end. You know what I mean? Like on some like senior week shit. You know what I mean? I'm just like, that's when I was like really, I'm like, oh, I see.
No, I was like super strict. I also went to like an all girls Catholic high school. I'm always like, see what happens.
Yeah, right.
And New York was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, lots of, I mean, sure, I could throw out plenty of like dark stories, but I think that's just, it's sometimes I feel like life is like a video game in the sense where you just gotta like slay some monsters and slay some dragons
to get to the next.
Sometimes you have to like repeat the same dragon as you're like repeating bad patterns.
Yeah,
and once you like break
that's
the
what
pattern,
I'm saying.
then you're like, oh, I unlocked a new level.
Exactly.
So I was hot mess, but it was.
No, I mean,
it was
fucking
wild
18 in New York. Like,
amazing.
what else could you
I moved to
necessarily?
Berlin when I was 25.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, so like the frontal lobe had developed at that point, Yeah, I know, right? I'm 2 years removed from that.
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah,
I guess I did.
I'm 2 years removed from that. I'm still like, damn, this is it, huh? Like, it's all supposedly there, and this is it.
They told me I was smart.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, damn. Well, if it's all developed, I guess it's just where I'm at. Like, there's no hope. But I mean, so like, New York at 18, and at what point? Because I know you were a go-go dancer for Arlene's Groceries out there at one point. So like, at what point in your journey over there did that start happening? Like, how'd you even get into that scene?
I definitely rebelled from ballet, and then I started doing jazz and kind of like Fosse style. My like mentor Stephen Hardy definitely took me under his wing, gave me like a scholarship, and where he was like, I do not care what you've done the night before, but you better show up every day and give me 200%. I think it definitely kept me alive, disciplined, and like
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to him for that.
And then I was like trying to audition for Broadway stuff, which musical theater wasn't my thing, but I was just kind of lost after leaving ballet. And then
was ballet like, was that something that like maybe like you wanted to pursue, or was that like more like your parents like kind of like putting you to school?
I was in art school when I was really, really, really young, and I really, really wanted to dance. Like, I was like always putting on shows for the family and always dancing around. Like, I always wanted to dance, and it was actually art school that made me decide. Like, they were like, you have to make a decision. Everything I went to was very intense. Like, it's like, you have to decide now. And I was like, sure. I was like, do you want to dance?
Let me out of the chair.
Do you want to draw? And I was like, I want to dance.
No, you're like, have you seen the movie Black Widow?
You mean Black Swan?
No, well, both, but like I mean, like, let's even go the Black Swan route. Like, was it much like that, where it's just like super militant? Like,
1,000%.
That's crazy.
But at that age, no. But and then so hold on, I'm trying to keep myself on track.
Yeah,
it's a challenge. So as far as when I got to New York, I was just like rebelling from all those years of ballet.
Yeah, and
then I was into punk and goth and like the underground world. I was always and am always fascinated by underground scenes and stuff.
Facts.
And then it just was kind of like it was only a matter of time until a friend's band, and like I got into the scene, people knew I was a dancer.
Yeah, they
were like, oh, you should you should dance like for us or with us. And I immediately, like, my first response was like, yes. And I was like, I'm going to rip my clothes off and spit blood.
The immediate go-to, yeah. Mother, there are other options. No, I don't see any other options. This is the only route I got. This is the only route I could go.
So awesome. It was great. I would
no, absolutely.
I would like lip sync to Madonna and then like cover myself in blood. And I
so
was
just
like,
as the dancer strictly though, like you weren't necessarily part of the band at this point, or?
I'd be like with the band and I'd choreograph stuff, and then which was like a precursor to like Berlin in some ways.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I started doing that. Someone was like, "Oh, what you're doing is burlesque," and I was like, "What's that?" And then I got into that, and then I feel like it was like a golden era, at least to me, where it was like all these crazy superstars and greats, and I got to learn from, and the best information I got was like create a character, like a name, and like whatever show that you're doing, it's like you're not in Molly Black's world.
Yeah,
It's not
right.
Like, for example, like if it's a burlesque night and it's Valentine's Day show,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm not doing a show about Molly Black. It's like, what is Clea Cutthroat's world?
Yeah, right.
On
Valentine.
Day?
Yeah, right,
And you know, because we're all fucked up when we're young,
Yeah, right.
so I created like this super ego. Like Clea is like the baddest bitch before bad bitch became a catchphrase.
Right,
Like,
right.
Clea is
The
like
original
the
bad bitch.
baddest,
Yeah.
does not give a fuck.
Let's go.
Like it just is like she is that bitch. And like you know, I was really like mad at guys and really wanted to identify with like I guess femmes now, I would like say, as far as like femme energy.
Yeah, right.
Just because back then it was even like a little bit different, but I really found like it was like the drag queens and the trans community that really like took me in when I was going through a tough time, and, like helped guide me through things. So just like trying to figure out, like Clea was all about kind of, I guess, my journey through
absolutely
gender, sexuality, figuring it out, and
took like an amalgamation of like
and then instead of like, which I feel like is like very typical for, you know, you're a sensitive little bunny rabbit and an artist, and you just create a persona that you're just like, I'm bad.
Yeah, right.
Know?
No, facts.
So.
That's crazy. And you're, because like I know you know Clea Cutthroat came later, but just as far as like your just like initial just whole introduction into the burlesque scene, like how were you even navigating that, like, you know, so young?
I just did it. Like,
yeah,
it was like, it was just like, oh, but I also like, I came from ballet, theater, like a full art, formal, technical training. So I came in with like a full classical skill set.
Okay,
So if you kind of think of it that way, so then it was almost like I could
do anything. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, right.
With like a different perspective, different training, you know, you can
so I'm saying
in movement quality.
Right, yeah. Because like you have the formal training, which is like what a lot of people probably generally lack. So it's like it's easier to just like kind of like break down from a structured standpoint rather than just like kind of.
I feel like the magic with like burlesque and variety is that it's like everybody's different backgrounds that like bleed into our personas on stage and make them like so unique and special. And I think for me with Clea, a lot of it was like extremely performative and like movement based. So I think that
yeah, for sure.
But then I would get really inspired being around meeting artists that just came from like polar opposite backgrounds, because then I would see their shows and I would just be like, oh, like it's so good. Like I would not see things that way or put things together that way. So I was always like very and still am like excited to like be around people that are really different and see colors in like a different way. I just find that really exciting, because sometimes it's kind of like, you know, it's like if you're on Spotify or something and you're like, oh, how do I get out of like my playlists or my same albums? Like there's infinite music, but you can find yourself sometimes like on the same
just
kind of
this,
track.
like, right.
So then it's always just very exciting to like this new, and you're just like, wow. And then I'd be like, because I would meet people that didn't come from a formal dance background, if you will, but I would just think that they were like the coolest movers. I think I like really had to learn a lot how to would be the right word to like break down that type of training to look
unlearning
like different, because I was like, oh, like so it was very interesting. It was really great. So
and just for like, you know, people who like are watching stuff like who may not know, if you want to like kind of briefly break down like what burlesque is, like, you know, like what it entails, like
burlesque was started out as a rebellious art form of the lower classes, and it would be the speakeasies, and it would be like, you know, like it was a really like activist, badass feminist thing. And at the time it would be like, you know, taking off a glove or a shoe or a stocking. But at the time,
it was crazy. Absolutely.
And like subverse. So so it's like really is this like, you know, badass wild art form within it, and that's like a very brief
sure, right, exactly.
And then I would say like in present times, then there you can then kind of like with music, there's like different niches of it.
Yeah,
so like
right.
you have the really glamorous burlesque and like beauty queens, and then you have comedy. You have stuff that's called nerd burlesque. You have I always liked the phrase grotesque burlesque, or so there's all these different like sounds and feels
right. Just
to
even
it.
within that
But
world.
yeah, so it's kind of like there's always some form of strip or reverse strip, but there's always like a story, a character,
Okay.
some type of
No,
the performer is gonna
it's a plot.
take you on a journey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sure. No, definitely. And again, just for people who may not know, just even get that quick little tidbit, just for context, I'm sure it'll help a lot. But like during your time, just even in New York, were you performing music then, just like in like your first run over there, or like, nah, those are just strictly
I was
dancing?
always a big music fan,
Okay.
and I was definitely afraid of singing. I actually had this one audition that I almost got, like when I was doing the trying to be on Broadway, and this is like an off Broadway thing. I'm not gonna say what it was, but I got into the final callback. It was final callback, and it was the closest I had ever been. And I remember going to like my vocal coach to do a lesson before going, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And I could tell, like, I walked into the room. It was like Flashdance the movie, like the table, everybody's behind it. And I walked in, and they were just like, Mollie, hi. Like, we are so happy to see you. Now I know that they were like, just sing happy birthday, bitch. Like, you got the job. Like,
right, yeah.
All your fans.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You can do no wrong. And what did I do? Oh, I did so much wrong.
What happened?
Oh, my God. I sang Annie Lennox's "No More I Love Yous."
I'm not even hip to the song, like.
And to this day, it will. And I love Annie Lennox, and it's a great song. But like, all I literally had to do, I was not going in as a singer.
Yeah.
Like, I just needed to be a dancer.
Yeah.
Just needed to carry a tune. I literally could have sang "Happy Birthday," and instead, like, the pianist like started, and I was like, like, like my voice totally cracked, and I was like, oh, like, and I watched all these like smiles, like,
damn.
that was the worst. That was a dark moment. I just wanted to like run. I could still feel it.
Oh man,
the room so badly, and I was like, why did I do that?
Oh man.
So yeah.
Lessons though, yeah.
So yeah, no, I was like, I do not have any business.
Got you.
With a microphone.
Okay, that's interesting. So like, you spent like what you said, like 6 years in New York.
Yeah,
and then you moved to, or yeah, go ahead.
In New York, it was like burlesque, and then I was throwing really big fetish parties.
Okay, yeah. Like just like fuck it, or like, is that just like the scene you're in, or?
No, it was like the scene. It was like fetish, goth. It was like everything, like dark music.
Yeah.
So anything that was like anything, and it was at this club, and
I was about to say, like, was this like at your crib at the time, or like?
No, it was at this place called the Delancey, which is still around, I believe. And it was 3 floors, and it was wild. And it was like that party went on for like a couple years. And, what the guys that brought me in, they were just like, we watched you grow up in the scene.
Yeah.
I was just doing all this wild stuff.
Yeah.
They were like, bring your hot pink electronic safety pin energy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. So that will be a different podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
That one was wild. But yeah, so I was really into that whole underground culture.
Yeah.
And then it was from doing a show that I met a booker that was a friend that was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Berlinale in Berlin.
Okay.
I was like, what's that? He was like, it's the movie festival over there. Strangely enough, at the time, I was obsessed with Berlin music labels, and I was listening to all like
just
Berlin
like
music, like very randomly.
Yeah, how'd you even catch like that?
Because I was really into electronic music.
Oh, okay, and like you just kind of went to like the wormhole.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, no,
so that was like what I was obsessed with, and I was like, wow, Berlin, like that's so cool. And then I got like an email from him like a week later that was like, hey, you want to go? And I was like, I'm gonna be in Italy. And he was like, I'll fly you there. I'm like, that's amazing.
Wait, why were you in Italy?
I was with my terrible ex-punk rock boyfriend.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I got mad at him, and I took his clippers, and I shaved my head, and I wore his T-shirt, and I stormed out and went to Berlin.
Oh shit! And that was like the last time you saw him.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still around.
Okay.
It's a long story.
No, for sure. But I was just like, yo, that would have been crazy if like the last time he saw you, you just shaved your head and went to Berlin.
No.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, for sure. So all right, you're making the trip to Berlin because your friend who's a booker, he was doing an event over there.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm fucking with it. What's going on with that? He's like, yo, come through. And at 25, you head to Berlin. So. Did you plan on staying there for like 11 years, like when you were initially going over there, or like what was the plan like when you were going to Berlin?
Sorry, now I am hot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, see,
I'm drinking margaritas.
Look, 72 degrees already. Yeah,
Like,
the Austins, you know what I mean? Yeah, never underestimate the room temp.
They were talking about Berlin. What was the question?
No, yeah, just like what was just like your initial goal? Because like you kind of like I don't want to say like a win, but like you were going over there because like a friend of yours was like doing an
like
event.
did I plan on moving there? No.
Yeah, right.
I just was like, holy shit! Like I'm in Berlin, and when I was there, I was just like fully enchanted by the whole thing. Like everything was like red lit. It was like empty power plants that were like raves.
Yeah,
like it was just
crazy.
like
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everything. Like I went to New York being in love with totally in love with the whole idea of like Andy Warhol's scene in the exploding plastic inevitable. And,
okay.
like, all that kind of stuff. So I really was into that whole Lower East Side, East Village thing.
Just kind of vibe,
scene.
yeah, right.
And then going to Berlin was like that times 8 million.
Yeah.
And then I was already somebody that was very fascinated by people from different walks of life that came from different areas. And then I was listening to Berlin like, holy shit. And then I remember the guy that was doing the lights, his name is Dan of that show, and he was super tall. He was American. He had moved over to Europe. His girlfriend was living in Amsterdam, and we would run around, smoke weed. I was there for 2 weeks, and it was just really like one night.
Right.
So we were just running around like chaos and a mess, wild times. And I just remember Dan just being like, Mollie, I go to Cairo for the day.
Yeah.
I come home and my girlfriend makes me dinner. And I just was like, I'm in Europe and going to like coffee shops, and like I'd go by myself, and I was like smoking at the time. So I'd be like rolling myself a cigarette. Then somebody would be like, oh, do you want to smoke some hash? And I was like, okay.
Well,
everything just seems so like.
When in Berlin.
Just out of a
right.
And I guess like when you're also
surreal but like familiar.
Yeah.
So
and I guess also like when you are where you're supposed to be and like where you're supposed to be going, like when you find that sweet spot in the universe and like the energy flows. Like I did meet like, chosen family people and amazing people. Like it was like I somehow went there on my own, but like I fit in more than I ever had fit in anywhere before. I had like a lot of questions about my life, about who I was, what I was feeling. And in Berlin, like they just don't care. But like in the most positive sense, at least this Berlin. I can't speak of Berlin now, but like at the time I was very confused with like gender and sexuality.
Yeah, right.
And someone asked me before like, oh, like who are you into? And I just was like, so I go on this whole monologue, well, I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out. And they were just like, yeah, I don't care. Like, you don't care. Just let us know. Like, I have a guy or a girl I can hook you up with. And I was like, oh, like they were just like, whatever, boo. Do you want some nachos?
Yeah, right.
And that was actually very free,
comforting,
and empowering. For me. I think that actually helped me navigate and then find where I was, because there was just no pressure. Like, it was such like a positive, like,
to like label yourself as any one
just like,
distinctive thing.
Like, cool.
Yeah, right.
Do you want a coffee?
Type shit. Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah, facts. No, bro, that's beautiful. So I mean, just like like, how long were you there before like you decided to move there?
2 weeks. The 2 weeks that I was there to do the show, and I was like, this is amazing. I never want to go back to America. And then I went back to New York. I was doing
I went back to America.
I had to, and then I was doing a off Broadway show, off, and I just like finished that out, and then I sold all my shit for $100.
What?
Yeah, to my friend Keith.
When you say all, like, what are you talking?
I took 2 bags. Actually, this guy I was working with at the time, he came from Ireland, and he gave me great advice. He was like, Molly, anything besides the 2 bags that you're allowed on the plane, just get rid of it. Like, you're not gonna come back for it. You don't need it. And I was really like,
fair enough.
That was the best advice.
Yeah,
I passed that advice on. So
that's a fact,
stuff
though.
that I had accrued, I would either give to people, but I was also young and dumb back then, so it was like everything was just like a mess. And then I think I went back 4 or 5 months later, and then that was it.
Wow, that's crazy.
I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. How's it like, setting up your life in a whole different country? Like,
it's awesome. It's super hard. Like, I'll see certain TV shows or stuff like that where I'm like, I remember that feeling, because it's really exciting in the beginning, but then after, let's say 2 or 3 weeks, it's like, and also people having excitement that you're new and that you're there.
But once that wears,
there's going to be a time point where people are just living their everyday lives.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And the excitement wears off a little bit to where things become more normal.
Right.
And then I remember I was living in a place, I paid 150 euros for rent, and there was a supermarket across the street. I always like supermarkets.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like international, like I was it's like, for me, I was like, oh, food, I know how to shop for this.
The UN.
And yeah, and then there would be like, it'd be great, but there would be times I'd be like, oh my God, I'm in a country I do not know this language at all.
Dude, yeah.
I found there was a place by me, a friend got me like a little black and white TV that had like a DVD attached to it. And
DVD.
And I was like, the only thing that I could find at the time, they were selling, and also with the money that I had, for €5, you could get 5 episodes of Sex and the City.
There you go.
And I was just like, boy, on really rough nights where like couldn't go out because I didn't have the money for it, or whatever it was, like I would just put that on and like be like, oh yeah, New York. I remember that. I'd be like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then like,
look, Sarah Jessica Parker.
But then, and then other times, like me and one of my friends, Tristan, like we would meet up and we would just like find bars that would serve. I remember there was a point before my visa went through that I was living off of like €1 a day.
Wow.
So like, but in Berlin, everything's so cheap. So Berlin at that time, like I'll never forget it. You could get a whole thing of pasta. It was like for 30 cents. You could get frozen vegetables, a box for like 25 cents.
Okay.
For 10 cents, you could get like tomato powdered sauce.
Jesus.
And then for like another 40 cents, you could get some cheese.
I love it though, because you made it work. Like, yeah, you made it work. Like, yeah,
so
facts.
we would just like all like eat out of the pasta, and then we would walk everywhere, and it was beautiful. It was like the summer, so like we would like walk an hour, and we'd find bars that served peanuts or pretzels, and then we would like eat all of them.
Yeah, right.
And we would get one drink, and I remember over there at the time it was like people drank more like gin tonic was like something you would drink.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just like on the sipping vibe, like.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
but it was
a
just
gin
like,
and tonic has easily been one of my drunkest
region you go to.
like
it's like different like drinks. So it was all like white wine spritzers and gin tonics, and I'm not such a beer drinker. So, but we would get a gin tonic and we would make that drink last hours, and we would laugh and we would have the best time. And somehow, because we were so fabulous, somebody would like buy us a drink, or we would somehow we always had weed. We always had weed.
Somehow, no, it's like
that happened. But like,
listen, Mollie, you got by. You made it work.
So it's really like also like the best of times,
Right.
So
those memories are gonna be like they're priceless. You gotta be probably like
they're amazing. Yeah. And then I do feel like at this point, like I do know that one of my talents would be that like you could blindfold me and push me off a plane, and no matter where I would land in the world, I would know that I could set myself up, meet people, like make things work.
That's like the opening scene of like the Dark Knight Rises. It's like it doesn't matter who we are.
I did watch that DVD a lot too. Maybe that seeped in.
No, that's crazy. No, man. I love every bit of that, bro. And like, so it just leads me to my next question, because like you touched on just like how crazy it was. Like obviously like that new excitement wears off. Like you realize, all right, like I'm actually living in Berlin. You know what I mean? Like I got to make a life for myself, bro. How did you break into the music scene out there, bro? And like, at what point did you like start to dig your heels and like start pursuing that? Like that just seems crazy.
anything cool I've ever done is all by accident. It's like, to be honest,
I love yo. I love that.
like,
I love that. And that's what, like, anything cool you've ever seen me do, it was not purposeful. Like I feel that though.
everything,
feel
like
that.
everything, the whole journey has just been like me like tripping over something. I'm like, oh, wow,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yes,
I'm meant to
I
do
think
that.
It's been like saying yes.
Yeah, right.
Or just being like, I don't know. I don't think it's just, to be totally honest, I could make a big deep story about it, but it's not. I just have been like, oh no, sure. And so I was performing, and luckily New York gave me enough of a resume to do shows in Berlin.
Fair, yeah, right.
And then I met people really quick, I guess, because I was meant to be there. So it was really like, I never felt like so much that like my aesthetic fit in somewhere, my thoughts, my politics, like everything. And then me and my friend Kate, we were rehearsing for a show, doing a performance, like a performance art piece or something.
And Kate was just like the home of the, like you met out there, or like,
Yeah.
okay, copy, all right.
And then actually her partner,
Let's see some pics.
Juan,
Oh wait, he made
silk
that.
screen.
Wow, that's
So
hard.
he has a fashion shop called Exit out there, still does, and he's a fashion designer. And he did
That's
a whole.
tough.
He did. This is like from one of those collections, and I had
Clea
a
to the
piece of
camera,
it.
that's
So when
kinda
I
crazy.
left, I made it into a hoodie, so then I would always have it with me. But that's like my Berlin. Oh, I forget that this is being filmed.
Shout out to Juan. Yeah, that's crazy.
From
This
Exit.
is hard. I love this.
Yeah, Juan de Chaumier.
That's dope.
So yeah, and then Tobias from Bonaparte called us and was just like, hey, why don't you take your rehearsal on stage? And then we were like, okay. And then it was just, but nothing was like major yet. And then that show turned into us being a band. And then I was doing performance with them on stage.
Yeah.
And then with Juan, we started Eat Lipstick. And we always say that we willed that into existence. I feel like one of our friends came by.
So I'm saying,
I feel like I was trying to learn like GarageBand. We were like, we're going to do this. It's going to happen.
No, and we're definitely going to touch on Ellipse because like I just want to take people through like the iterations just so they get the full picture.
So that would be how I then got into band stuff. So it's both I was still,
and that's and I was going to say, like, not going to cut you off, but Bonaparte's a big, like, like a pretty big name in, like, Germany.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, like, he's like a producer, like, electronic rock, just like does all stuff.
The whole thing.
And it's just like, crazy how that was your intro into like the scene.
That's like I just feel like that's, again, it's just like we just all met, and then and obviously that then opened up to a whole family, then years of touring, but then that at the same time, then it was like doing Eat Lipstick, and then that was me getting over my terrible audition in New York, being like, okay, I can talk into a microphone.
Right.
Well, at least for me, like I was like with punk rock, it made me feel more comfortable because I was like, okay, there's no me trying to like, I'm not like singing. Well, you know what I mean. Like I'm not like trying to be Whitney Houston or something.
Right.
Like,
I'm
type
just shit.
Expressing myself vocally.
No, and it's so like. And like I watched your burlesque performances, your band performances, and I've never seen just someone so comfortable with just like you are yourself at all times on stage. Like you're so free and I'm just like, that is Mollie. Like that is who I've met, who I speak to every time I'm at. Like I'm just like, this is so crazy, and it just looks so innate.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, when Bonaparte is like asking you to like bring the rehearsal on stage, like are you just like, because like I know like you did dance obviously, so like there's like obviously a performance within that, but being with a musical act on stage is like a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
So like
I loved it just because I've always have loved bands and music, and just coming from a dance background, it never occurred to me that I could do my own band or like like it just I was in my
never
own
dawned on you like
track. So the idea of being able to like work with a band starting from even being young in New York was just always like, to me, like, oh wow, that's like the coolest thing ever. That's like so awesome. I love being around musicians and artists and all that kind of stuff, and then that really gave me the confidence in meeting people to start doing something else and like see where it goes.
Did you know about Bonaparte's, I guess, stature, for lack of a better word, or just like who he was like within Germany, like when he invited you to be like, yo, like, come fuck.
I knew he was awesome, but like, yeah, no, it was definitely like, we went in blind, and also it was like before the explosion.
Oh, okay, so, wow. So like you even saw his trajectory as That's crazy. I mean, like, what was that like? I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, no, it's like nuts.
Yeah,
it's a definitely once in a lifetime lightning.
Is he still doing this thing out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
they
crazy.
Just did a little reunion tour. They did, but obviously I'm not here. But no, he's still killing it, and everybody from the band is still killing it, doing all their stuff. So it's weird, right? You're like, oh, all of a sudden we're like, years later,
bro,
where's everybody at?
And I know, right? Just like you're trying to like rehash everything. Before I get anything, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open the second can of this this cocktail. What I'm being is a complete heathen right now, because again, we used to do this on the pod, but not so much recently. nah, I'm a chill out.
I'm glad that I can bring the fun back.
Yeah.
That's like a little New Orleans.
Yeah. Listen, yo, we lit in the studio right now, man. And this is yeah, right. And this is great, man. I love this. Bro, so you performed. And like, tell me if you remember this, yo. Like, you performed at a Quentin Tarantino after party.
Oh wow, this was all Google.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yo, so like, I mean, how was that like?
I could bring it for you guys.
Yeah.
I have a makeup box that Kate made for me, and it was like, I think the front page of the paper, and it was like, I can't think of the correct German words, but it was something like the translation like, Tarantino watches like a hot fetish show, and it's like me and Katie, because like Kate, I should call her Kate. I call her Katie like a sister, but with Mad Kate, and we were always doing these really cool art performative pieces and always using fetish and going wild. But the photos of her, and I'm covered in blood and like corset, boobs out, like tape on them, and she's just duct taping my mouth shut, and like she's over me, and then it's a big like a circle like photo of like Quentin Tarantino like sipping on a straw, like he's like watching. I'm like, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But
shout out to Q.
She made me this awesome makeup box, and on the inside of it, she used that newspaper, and I still have it.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, like, did you? So, like, I mean, like, when you were presented with an opportunity, like, I mean, what were your thoughts? You're just like, damn, we're about to fucking go perform for Quentin Tarantino. Like, what the fuck? Like,
I mean, I think it was more like at that point when you're performing, it's very often that there's movie after parties, fashion shows, that you either performing on fashion shows, music videos with artists. Not to mean like make it sound blasé, but it's like,
no, I mean, it's just that like, world. Like,
it's just kind of like what's happening.
Right.
Like, do you think that going into it that Quentin Tarantino is going to watch you? Like,
no, right, yeah, exactly. But you just look up at
to like other people, like, oh yeah, I could paint a different.
Quentin definitely knew we were coming.
But yeah,
right,
that's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny you brought that up.
No. Like, I would just, cause like I just like, it was on YouTube, but like I just like even saw, like I was just like, cause I was researching Bonaparte. I was just like seeing what who he was, just like kind of getting into his whole career, and then so like I typed in Clea Cutthroat in YouTube, but then that video came up like as like under like Bonaparte shit. You know what I mean? Like it was like go under. So I'm like,
I was also
Quentin Tarantino. I'm just like
Amy Starlight in Bonaparte.
Oh, okay.
Did you see my workout videos?
No.
I used to lead a flash mob into aerobics.
Yeah, well, like I know that like you, because when I was watching, because like
80s
I was gonna say, like I was watching. And forgive me if I mess his name up, but like I think it's Enter Germany. ENTR was like Enter Germany, and like you were saying like you have like all these like different personalities.
I have a lot of names.
Yeah. So Amy was like the fitness. She was like the fitness.
Amy Starlight.
Yeah, Amy Starlight was the fit. That's a fact. But there's like
a
whole
leg warmers.
Yeah. But there's I think like 14 to count. But like you had like listed like 8 or 9.
Oh, I have a lot. I remember we did I would come out and do like this like flash mob thing, and I even got like a pink tracksuit. It was very cool.
That's crazy as hell. No, man. And well, okay, so like besides Amy, who are the other like notable dress like
Sister Mary.
Okay.
She was a drunk nun. I went to I think it was a Marilyn Manson concert in Germany, and I collected all of those flyers, people protesting before the show.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, what if I like protested us? And I was drunk. So I would come out as this like obviously like super a campy, that I'm a character, but I would come out and I made my own flyers based off of those, and I would like be like, what are you doing going to the show? Like taking a sip out of the vodka. And I would hand people flyers, and it became this funny thing that we would go out and we would like protest the show.
That's hilarious.
And then we had like a marching band. So Sister Mary, Amy Starlight, Clea, Juanita,
Juanita, yeah, that was the one. Yeah, what did Juanita be up to? Yeah.
To Juan.
Okay.
So like that's where that came from. Juanita was like very funny and sassy. She was a French maid that always was cleaning everything.
That's hilarious.
And the disco balls.
Jesus, that's hilarious.
I'm sure that there's more. And then some of my nicknames would be Jolly Mollie because of my smiling, but when I was hungry, they would call me Grumpy Bumpy. Alex to this day is like, am I being a Grumpy Bumpy?
Yo, I love all that, man. So after like you're doing your thing with Bonaparte, like when did Eat Lipstick come into play? Because like I know you mentioned that
I think it was all I'd have to go back to look at dates, but Mad Kate and I were so close as far as performance partners, and I'll never meet anyone again like her in the sense of being on stage. We never needed to speak. We could fill each other's sentences.
Wow,
what was happening. I mean, we were on stage together for over a decade and toured and stuff. And then I became really close with one of our partners, Juan, and we just like totally hit it off. So this happened all within, because like Mad Kate was with other bands. People had like different side projects.
Sure.
And then Juan and I, we would just always crack each other up. And then we came up with Eat Lipstick. And then his persona is Anita Drink, which is amazing.
Anita Maxwell. My alter ego, Anita Maxwell.
That's very funny. And then and Eat Lipstick is obviously still going.
Yeah,
I was like the first, or I guess the beginning. And and then we met Paul, who's the shredder, and then I got deported from London, and then Fuck London happened, and I feel like that's when things really.
So that literally led me to my next question, bro. Y'all's song "Fuck London."
FUCK UK. I mean, it's good.
C double in the building. C double in the building. You can C double in the building, man.
True.
Absolutely, yo. So,
true.
and just again for people who may not be in tune, like Fuck London. Why did that come about? How did that come about? What were the events leading up to this?
Honestly, if there's anything that won't be cut, it will probably be this story. So I was traveling with Health Industries. That was my my sideshow, freak show, grotesque burlesque group from Berlin. It was me and two German performers, Gingerson and Killing Ira. And so we would do like fire. And then Sonia, Killing Ira, she would wear those. She would made herself like a metal thong when he's like an angle grinder, and and like grind and be like, like
shit,
lights coming out of her pussy kind of thing.
That's crazy.
And then I would suffocate myself with duct tape and use all the blood and just be like wild. So we were going to a show. I just feel like even now I'm trepidatious about dropping names.
Yeah. No. Don't gotta drop names.
So we were going to a show, and I did have my German visa, but this was at a time like I got my visa through like a Hail Mary, like because computerized.
I even
really
forgot
weird.
about that whole aspect about you living out there.
And that's also another podcast. So I didn't think that I was doing anything wrong. Was that naive? Yes, but this was like not 2024.
Yeah, sure.
It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
real
yeah.
different.
No, for sure.
So like, and I was like the dad. So I'm always like a little OCD. So I was the one with the suitcase with packing all the props, and I had toured enough at this point in my life that I knew where something like sugar, for example, like if you need that on stage and you're like, oh, I can just get that when I land. It's like, no, wrong.
Yeah.
Somehow I've been to many places in different countries where somehow you're not getting to a chance to go shopping before you.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Or something that's just not like there can be a roadblock.
Yeah,
so if
absolutely.
you're doing a show and it's important and you can take it with you.
If you're an artist, like right before
and you're
an event,
not,
you
Madonna and have people that can do that for you,
gotta prep,
then like
you got to prep.
Get it together.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had enough instances of getting to places and it becoming like such a nightmare to get something that I assumed was so basic.
Would be accessible. Yeah, right.
So I was like, I'll get all of our stuff. So we had a show where we started out as really classic showgirls, and then we do this whole beautiful number, and then we go to the backstage, and and like we're stars, but we're lonely and we're sad, and then all of a sudden, like Prodigy's "Smack My Bitch Up" starts, and we start just doing like rails
Shout
of cocaine.
Prodigy.
Obviously fake cocaine, but just doing like rails of cocaine, and then we like freak out, and then we go into I guess the Dinglish, the German English thing we would say, we call it like our specials. So then it'd be like the fire and the angle grinder. So we go from like, and I was always really into like deconstruction. I was always into starting out really glamorous and then going into like really ugly and in your face and like fuck off and tearing off eyelashes and wigs and clothes and all that kind of stuff. So then we would like, I guess, deconstruct ourselves and then just go wild with fire and angle grinders and blood and all this kind of stuff. It was a very like energy packed number, and also a great number, but I don't think the things that I said, like I haven't like, the performance was amazing and earth shattering, but I don't think the concept is necessarily new, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Like,
Right.
Okay, like that checks.
Sure,
checks
sure. Right.
Well, so I'm excited to be in London. I've been there one time before to see Madonna.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And they go right through because they're EU citizens. I'm not, but as I walk up to the podium, I can tell, I'm like, when you can just tell that someone doesn't like you? This guy looks at me up and down, and I'm more accustomed to actually people usually liking me, to be honest. But I was like, this guy does not look like me. He looks me up and down, and I was like, I do not know if I look like a sister he doesn't like.
Yeah, right.
Like, whatever it is.
Whatever he's going through in life, I probably look like.
Bueno.
Yeah, right.
And so we'd go the whole thing of like asking me questions, and then what are you here for? Oh, holiday. And then he was like, oh, you live in Germany? And I was like, yes, I have my visa. And my visa was for dancing, very specific. It was my first year there. So he was like, oh, dancing. So you're telling me if I open up your suitcase, you won't have any costumes in it? And then I'm like, oh my God, I have everything in my suitcase. And I was just like, and then he Googled me, and this was in the last days of MySpace.
Okay.
And I had put my performance calendar. I don't even know if either of you are old enough to remember MySpace, but
I remember.
There was like
don't do that. That's crazy.
I don't know. I don't know how old
that's
you
crazy.
are.
Oh my God, fuck out of here. That's crazy. No, we remember MySpace. Yeah.
So like I was able to put the performance calendar, so they found out that I was Clea Cutthroat. They found out where I was performing, and
but
then
that's weird for him to Google. Like, why did he even? Google?
He pushed it. And then and then they took me into the security zone, and I would have all these people like immigrating in and out. They opened up my suitcase, and they were like, what is this? And I was like, swords. And they were like, what is this? And I was like, an angle grinder. And then they were like, what is this? And I was like, 2 liters of fake blood. And they were like, what is this? And I was like, 2 liters of liquid latex. They were like, what are these? And I was like, bloody erotic postcards to sell for merchandise.
Ted Bundy.
And they were like, what is this? And I was like, a whip. And then they were like, and what is this? And it was just like, I was like, it's my journal that I put all my band lyrics in, and they're all just like really perverted, sexual, dark goth. And they were like, "Oh, then like, what is this?" And I was just like, and then the last thing that they pulled out was a giant one of those 8-gallon, whatever, gallon bags of Ziplocs, you know?
Yeah, right.
Filled with an entire bag of sugar, and I had labeled it in Sharpie. No, Clea Cutthroat's cocaine.
Damn.
So after all of this, right, where they're already like, this girl's a lunatic.
Yeah, right.
They pull out the Ziploc, says Clea Cutthroat's cocaine, and they were like, we're going to have to take this to the, what was it, like ATF or ETA, whatever the fuck they are at this point.
Test my Splenda,
I was just
whatever.
like, it's sugar. And I was just like, so I'm trying to describe this like whole show.
Crazy.
But then the person that we were there to do the show denied knowing me. So
whoa. What?
Yep, we need to let that lie.
Okay, all right, word up. All right, that's crazy.
Let that lie.
Yeah, facts.
So it just didn't work out. I also was young and dumb, did not check my facts and figures. So it also could have been naive of me to assume, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
My information, I can understand now why
Sure.
things happened at all that point.
Right.
I did not realize that I was in a situation to be deported.
Right.
And I'm coming as like straight A ballet dancer. So
I'm
still me being all of a sudden this bad girl is like, again, now it's a cool story. It was an accident. Like, but like I wasn't out there.
Like during the time you're probably like, yo, what the like what's about to happen to me?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I now understand at that time I just felt very abandoned and freaked out, but I can understand that maybe a lot of people were just put in like weird situations.
That's fine.
But then they took me into the jail, the airport jail.
Wow.
And they locked me inside of it, and it was like like an all gender jail cell.
Yeah, Jesus, that's crazy.
I remember they had like The Simpsons on. And then there was a guy from Bermuda that was in there with me.
Like, who's an airport?
And then I called my friend, and then I was like crying, and then obviously, and like I couldn't get information. Then they took me to a room. It's all in the song. They interrogated me twice. They offered me a Diet Coke. Like everything in the song is true.
That's crazy.
And then they were like, you know, like, why are you here? And I was like, I'm just here. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. Like, oh my God, you know, like I just was like, oh God.
Yeah.
And then I remember going back into the jail cell, and then I remember the guy like going up next to me, and I'm like crying. Like, I don't know if you've had this moment, but I tend to cry a lot. So I was like watching like The Simpsons and just like crying just because I didn't want other people to see I was crying.
Yeah, right.
This guy that's like creeping up to me.
And
then this guy is like trying.
Bermuda was trying to.
Yo, he like tries to lay down the line, and I just remember I was like, "Are you hitting on me?"
In the jail.
Like, I'm in jail.
In the airport jail is crazy. But yo, Bermuda, he ain't know.
I was like, you got it.
He's like, I may go back tonight. What's up?
What's up? I remember I was like, are you hitting on me? I don't know if I can handle this. And then they took me to a jail cell to sleep. And then there was...
Wait, so you spent the night? And
yeah.
What the fuck?
And then I was going on like a hunger strike, you know, in my mind. But then, and then like the security guard came up to me, and he'd be like, they'd open the door and he'd be like, Mollie, would you like a fish sandwich? And I was like, no, I do not want your fish sandwich. And then I realized I was like, oh, I might starve. And then I won't be. They did tell me they were going to deport me back to Germany. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck does all of this mean?
Yeah,
like, my parents are going to kill me. What does this mean? Like, I don't know. What did I do?
Yeah. Literally, like, what did I do?
Yeah, you know, like what did I do?
Crazy.
And then the guard, he was so nice. And then he came back and he brought me a sandwich, and he was like, Mollie, he's like, I used to work in the cabarets in the 40s during the war, and he got deported from Frankfurt. And he was like, but it was so nice, and I really needed to hear that.
So my nigga, why am I in here?
I'm like a terrible
Why am I in here?
person.
If you were over there, why am I in here right now?
I was destroyed. And then
crazy.
the next day, he like wakes me up. He's like, Mollie, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to need to see your hands. They handcuffed me, walked me out to a van, put me inside of the van, locked me inside of the cage, drove me in the van, handcuffed, locked inside of a cage, to the plane, handed my passport in a manila envelope to the captain of the plane. It's a commercial flight. And I get to my seat where they handcuffed me to my seat, and I look up,
the fuck?
and it's fucking Sonia, one of the girls from my group, like my friend
What
Sonia.
the fuck?
I was like, how are you here? I'll never forget that. I do not know. And then her and Nora, they it was so hard for them to get any information, and they decided that Nora would go on to the show to like represent us and also like clear any air, any missteps that I made, or obviously all accidental, etc.
Sure, right.
And then Sonia came back with me, and I was like, oh my god. So I was handcuffed to this plane with Sonia.
Fuck?
Go back to Berlin, and then when I get to Berlin, I see the police all in front of the plane. So I'm received by the the airport police chief and all of these other cops, and I was like, oh my god, I could have been deported back to America. Like, right? Like, I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's
also
crazy.
I wasn't trying to get one over. I'm well aware, and that's great. That it was like an accident, but like there's no room to be naive. Like, no. I mean,
usually when I hear these sort of just like, coming from like the world of like hip hop, primarily rap, the prop that that primarily rappers get caught with isn't necessarily a prop in the airport. You know what I mean? So like they may forget that like they got it on them or something like that. You know what I mean? So like obviously it's like, okay, obviously problems can arise from that. You know what I mean?
Right,
but it's just like, in the case of you, like it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, especially if he Googled you, which again, I don't know how we even got to that point as far as like
I forgot to say that. At one point, the immigration officer apologized to me that he took it too far. On my deportation papers, it said there was costumes in my suitcase, and that's why they deported me.
Bro,
I think is
come
a
on.
line in the song.
Come on.
And then I like got received by the German police, and luckily at the time I was doing this like erotic showgirl show, like a Vegas style show. And I had these like really proper flyers for it. So I invited everybody, and they were just like, listen, we get people deported all the time from the UK, artists that don't know what they're doing. You do need to inform yourself, but like, you're good.
Yeah.
I went to a friend's place, and I like didn't leave the apartment for like a week. And then we created Fuck London, and that was very
legendary.
cathartic.
Yeah, thanks.
And I never went back to London or England ever again. But
are you still banned to this day?
No, because it's like, it's not, I mean, again, it was like costumes in my suitcase. I think also talk about, there is a saying in Germany about being lucky, being unlucky. I'm so lucky that situation happened back then.
Yeah, right.
Not now.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like I have like a funny story. I have like a great song and a video.
Now who knows what?
And it's like punk rock, like legend or something, and it's like, it's awesome. But like, I feel like if that happened now, it'd be like a mess. I can also tell you that was a big wake up call for me too. So like after that, like I really like just had crossed my T's, dotted my I's, just had my stuff together. My visas, informing yourself.
Sure.
Like
it's a lesson.
I think, like I was young and dumb, but not that dumb. So it just kind of like, just you gotta adult up a little bit and kind of like know your standings and stuff.
I think like, again, naiveness, I think I even operate, with that at some level, just as far as like, being, like naive, like, certain stuff. And like, as you get older, that's not necessarily an excuse.
Yeah.
Rather than like, if you're 22, it's like, oh, well, I didn't know. It's just like, all right, well, okay, I can understand that. But like, as you get older, like, naivete in like certain areas, you're just like, I mean, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. And I feel like at that time, it was like, there was only a few of us Americans.
Yeah.
Like the whole timing and everything was like, fine. Like I said, like the art that came out of it.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, and like, amazing. That's why. So like in hindsight, it's just like, it had to happen in order to create this moment.
Totally.
Yeah,
But, oh my God, I look back at it.
No, bro, I don't even like. Dog, I don't like the fact that you even made it to airport jail is crazy. You got Bermuda. Yeah. It's crazy. You got Bermuda trying to solicit vibes in the jail. Like, he's like, yo.
As I'm crying.
Yeah. And we gotta find out what happened to Bermuda.
the
If he went
Simpsons
back,
on.
yeah, I don't. He may be still watching The Simpsons in that jail, just looking for the new.
He was like, "You're getting deported. I'm getting deported.
Yo,
Let's
that's
do
so
this."
crazy,
And I was
bro.
Like, I'm not there right now.
That's so crazy. So like when you dropped "Fuck London," I know it was cathartic, but like did that do anything for Eat Lipstick? Did that
Totally.
like put you on the map pretty much? Like,
Oh yeah, and then Reverso, who made the music video, is a very well-known, famous performance artist still to this day, and he makes all these incredible videos. And he had like a vision, and I really feel like the video really helped in the story and the song. And I feel like that also, like at this point, I might be wrong with timeline, but I feel like that was like one of the songs that really kind of like gelled me, Juan and Paul together, and then a lot of stuff came there. We had a lot of hits like Lickin' Box, You Smell Like Piss, Look Like Shit.
I'm 16. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was just I didn't.
Yeah, no, there was a lot. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, right.
So, and it was just like such a fun band, and Anita Drink is like so seasoned and like amazing, and I just like learned so much. And yeah, that was like a stepping stone. And then they went on, and then
This is crazy.
and then I think I left or something. Like I feel like I was like touring, so I think something happened that I wasn't, and it wasn't anything personal, that like I just
Right.
I think I felt like I wasn't around enough, and I didn't want them to like not take shows. I think that's what it was. But however it worked out, I ended up
Were you not
being
around just
with the
because like
band
other
so much.
obligations or like okay,
Yeah.
copy, okay.
And
Were they
then-
creative or just like life?
Creative.
Okay.
And then I like tried to go back, and then that didn't work out, but it didn't work out, and then I came back to the States.
Yeah.
So, all the dominoes were just trying to get me
Back to
to a certain trajectory.
yeah, and like I mean, like that low key even just kind of leads you to like my next question. Like the band that you most recently formed, Hot Pink Satan, shout out to that. You created with someone who you met over in Germany, and like I want to make sure I'm saying his name right. Is it All in the Line or
Yeah.
All in the Line?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, All in the Line. Like you met him in Germany, but reconnected with him over in the States. Like how was that? Like, because it just goes to show you just like how small the world can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, what are the fucking odds? You moved back to like, was this your move to Pittsburgh after you left Berlin?
No, I was in New York.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
I was in
You
New
did
York
mention
for a
that.
hot
Yeah,
second,
facts.
And then I was down in New Orleans, and then I was going through super abusive, crazy, evil person in
Yeah.
New York, and then I was like, I need to make some art about it.
Yeah.
And then I like reached out, so that's kind of how that all happened.
Oh, okay. So so you reached out. Like, did you know he was still in the States? Like,
Yeah.
when you reached out? Okay, got you. Okay.
Yeah, him and his partner Kat had brought me out here, to like the
okay.
Blue Moon, and some other places to do like burlesque shows and stuff.
Wow. Okay. So then, like, how did y'all like? So he was also in New York, or he was in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay, got you. So like, you reached out to me, like, he was in Pittsburgh. Was he like the main reason, like, you pretty much just like moved over to Pittsburgh just to like start that band up?
In some ways, like it was also that I didn't know where to land in the States, and when I first came back, it was like awful. Like I was like Tina Turner running away from Ike Turner kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy.
And then I went down to New Orleans, and I had to regroup myself. And New Orleans is like a special city for me, but I'm just like, no.
Jingles got us hip to, well, like, not like the full story, but like she like for this other like, yo, bonded over.
Yeah,
New
but then
Orleans,
it
yeah.
was like not meant to live there. And then I
I
kept
don't. Yeah. Well, yeah. All right.
I, like,
Facts.
kept coming up here to like record, and then I would like meet like more and more people, and then I realized that like Pittsburgh, I was like, oh, Pittsburgh's like super affordable, like Berlin, and like
Come on.
like easy location, and like
Come on.
and then I just was like, I was also like in a really weird space. Like I moved a country when I didn't really want to leave. I moved, and then I lived in a new country in 3 different states in like 2 years.
Yeah,
like that
right.
like fucks you up.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not something that like I planned on or
Sure.
wanted or was seeking out. So,
Absolutely.
I just said we're actually talking to my mom, and she was just like, you have to at some point you'll have to commit to somewhere. And then I was like, I guess it's here. Because in New Orleans, like, I was like living in closets. Like, it was a it was a wild ride. Like,
yeah, right.
Berlin. That's why I'm like, that's another podcast.
Yeah, right.
It was just really like everything was just so crazy.
I'm sure.
And then that's how I met Jingles. And
J Double.
she's the best. My Jane Fonda.
Yes, sir.
And then and then we ended up becoming roommates, and then kind of like life took on from there. And obviously she's like my sister now. So
of course, shout out to Jingles, who we will have on the pod.
Oh hell yeah! You should.
No, we definitely doing.
We should have her do like some makeup or something like.
Bro, she was telling us about her like washing machine shows.
Yeah.
No, I was just like, Jingle, shout out to Jingle.
No, she's amazing. You should like have her like do makeup on you or something and ask her questions.
Yeah.
Have you seen her body makeup?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I'm not even I wasn't even hip to that. Like she did that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Like crazy.
I might have to like do some like Jeff Hardy shit or something like that. Yeah, that.
Are you on her Instagram?
I'm not. No. Yeah, but after this,
yeah,
we can definitely get up on.
No, that would be. I feel like.
No. Jingle. I mean, like she was coming on regardless, but like now we can.
No,
for sure. Add some thematics to it that like might make me go crazy. Yeah. No, that'd be fire.
Yeah, so it's interesting, like how like a lot of weird stuff happens to get you where you are, and then I wasn't quite sure about Pittsburgh for a long time.
Right.
And then I think if I hadn't met Alex, I don't think I would have stayed.
And that's fair to say. Completely fair to say.
Just being honest.
And I'm not saying because, like, again, like as someone who's not originally from Pittsburgh, my initial move to it, and like, thank God for Mike. I mean, just even like ushering me into the whole like, here's like, what my city is. You know what I mean? Like just even through college, he was doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like when I initially moved here, obviously like as the viewers know, they're probably like, nigga told me we know. But it's just like it's my life. But like at the behest of Mike, I mean, like it was a big part of like why I even made the jump out here. I'm just like, dude, like it was really like just because of like the way he just laid the city out for me. Mm-hmm. So like when I eventually moved here, it didn't seem so overwhelming. I wasn't completely alone. Yeah. I was able to navigate like, oh, like I can at least go to these places with like these people, and like just like have an anchor. And honestly, like really from there, like the city has accepted me with just open. Like I feel like at times, don't kill me, but I feel like I am more from Pittsburgh at times than from Maryland. You know what I mean? It's just like,
do you know what you mean? Because I think I felt that way about Berlin.
Yeah, right.
Like I really felt like I was like, I am from Berlin.
Type, right?
I like lived somewhere like I really was like, oh, like I just like. I feel like I reflect the city.
Right.
And I feel like the like the reflection goes both ways.
Facts.
Here was a little bit more difficult, but all art projects aside, I think all three of us were talking about this at like the bar.
Yeah.
Like, the one time is I do feel like because of the moving countries and so many states and so many like rough situations, which like, yay, good for me for getting out of them, blah, blah, blah. But I think it was like I got into this like habit of like being like, okay, like time to go. I'll figure out like somewhere else. And I really think like a part of my journey here has been to like kill the ego.
Adapt, yeah.
And then the pandemic changed everything. And I also realized, not that it's necessarily bad, but that it's not bad because I grew up on a trajectory with like, was very clear about what I wanted career-wise. I'd write down the piece of paper, like, I want to be on a soap opera, check. I want to be in these magazines, check, 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 check. I want this, I want that, I want this. Like, I had very, like, tangible things that I wanted to achieve because in, I guess, show business, for lack of a better term right now, it felt like, if I achieve those things, I must be good. And of course, we're looking for outside validation and blah, 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 blah. But then all of a sudden the pandemic happened and
humbled everybody.
Yeah. Everything. And also like just kind of like, and me just being like, oh, there's just some things like I don't want to do anymore. And like some things changed and I could keep doing them, but I'm not excited about them. And now I'm stressed out about them. So it's like, Yeah, it's a journey. And then it's interesting, like your friend groups change when you're not connected to the glitterati.
Yeah,
and,
right.
like you're doing
Glitterati is
different things.
hilarious.
I stole that from the Sex
Glitterati
and
is
the
mad funny.
City.
Yes, dude, that's crazy.
And I think that's like, I think that really has been like a part of my like necessary journey
For sure.
the
Yeah, I mean, bro,
universe-
that would not make you
the
who you
universe
are.
and Killer Mike is
That-
just like
yeah.
kill your masters, and I'm like,
Yeah,
like
right.
kill your ego.
Shout out
I'm
to
like,
Killer
oh my
Mike.
God,
Yeah.
it's so hard.
That was another nigga who was let out in
Oh.
handcuffs at an event. Yeah, we
Right?
saw that. Y'all
I
got,
know.
is Mollie Killer Mike? Is that what we got?
Oh my God, stop.
Yo, nah,
We
Mollie, bro. I want to thank you so much again for taking the time to come up here. Again, I know you don't lend your time to everybody, and we're super appreciative
Oh my God.
of what this.
Anything for you guys.
And within
You're the coolest.
MIC lore, bro, this is like if you know this. Like this episode is fucking crazy. I don't know nothing
Crazy.
about it. But yo, thank you so much. This is just like the point of the pod where if you want like just plug anything you may have coming up, plug Ruggers where they can find Ruggers on social media. If you want people to follow you, like just like whatever you got to plug. The floor is yours. But Mollie, thank you so fucking much for coming.
Oh
through.
my God, you
Appreciate
guys are the
yo.
best.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
yo.
having me on.
Of course, yo.
I guess if I'm gonna plug anything right now, I'll plug Ruggers. You can catch me at Ruggers Pub. Always a bunch of live shows, hopefully from some people around here soon. And you can always catch me, Clea Cutthroat or Health Witch on Instagram. But who cares? Kill your masters. Come have a drink. Let's figure it out.
You already know what the fuck it is, man. MIC Podcast, man. Episode 117. We got Mollie in the building, a.k.a. C motherfucking double. And we're out, bro. Peace.